Ladies and gentlemen, today I invite you on a journey, one that stretches across centuries, across dense forests and quiet villages, across the shifting boundary between myth and meaning. We are here to explore one of the most fascinating and enduring figures in world folklore, Baba Yaga. She is at once terrifying and wise, destructive and protective, ancient and ever-renewing. To speak of Baba Yaga is not simply to tell a story, it is to enter a tradition, to encounter a symbol that has evolved over generations, and to reflect on what her presence reveals about the cultures that created her, and the human mind that continues to be captivated by her. But to truly understand Baba Yaga, we must begin not with her stories as we know them today, but with her origins, those early roots buried deep within the soil of Slavic culture, language, and belief. The name Baba Yaga itself offers our first clue. The word Baba, in many Slavic languages, refers to an old woman or grandmother. It can be affectionate, but it can also carry a tone of mockery or fear, depending on context. The second part of her name, Yaga, is more mysterious. Scholars have debated its meaning for years. Some suggest it may derive from a word related to horror, illness, or anger. Others connect it to ancient terms for serpents or forest spirits. Regardless of its precise origin, the name as a whole evokes something both familiar and unsettling, an old woman who is not quite what she seems. Baba Yaga emerges from the oral traditions of Slavic peoples. Communities spread across Eastern Europe, including regions that are now Russia, Ukraine, Poland, and beyond. These were largely agrarian societies, deeply connected to the land and its rhythms. Life was shaped by the seasons, by the fertility of the soil, by the dangers and resources of the natural world. In such a context, the forest held immense significance. It was a place of both life and danger. It provided wood, food, and shelter, but it also concealed predators, harsh weather, and the unknown. It was a space beyond the safety of the village, a place where normal rules no longer applied. It is within this environment that Baba Yaga takes form, a being who belongs to the forest, who embodies its unpredictability and power. Early Slavic belief systems were animistic, meaning that people saw the natural world as inhabited by spirits. Rivers, trees, animals, and landscapes were thought to possess agency and presence. Baba Yaga may have originated as one of these spirits, a guardian or embodiment of the forest itself. Over time, as stories were told and retold, she took on a more defined shape, becoming the figure we recognize today. Some scholars suggest that Baba Yaga may be linked to ancient goddess figures, particularly those associated with death, fertility, and the cycle of life. In many cultures, these forces are personified as female deities who hold power over both creation and destruction. Baba Yaga, with her connection to bones, her proximity to death, and her role in transformation, may reflect echoes of such ancient beliefs. At the same time, she is not a goddess in the traditional sense. She is more ambiguous, more grounded in the everyday world of human experience. She cooks, she lives in a house, she interacts with visitors. This blending of the supernatural and the domestic is one of the most striking aspects of her character. Consider her hut, one of the most iconic elements of her legend. It stands on chicken legs, able to move and turn, often requiring a specific phrase to grant entry. This image is both bizarre and symbolic. Some interpretations suggest that the hut represents ancient burial structures, raised above the ground and associated with death rituals. Others see it as a metaphor for the threshold between worlds, a place where the living and the dead, the known and the unknown intersect. The fence of bones and skulls that surrounds her home reinforces this idea. It is a reminder of mortality, a warning to those who approach. Yet it is also a sign of knowledge and power. Baba Yaga is not merely surrounded by death, she commands it. She exists in a space where life and death coexist, where endings become beginnings. As Slavic societies evolved, so too did the stories of Baba Yaga. With the spread of Christianity, older pagan beliefs were often reinterpreted or transformed. Figures like Baba Yaga, who once may have been seen as sacred or neutral, were sometimes recast in more negative terms. She became more overtly frightening, more clearly aligned with danger and evil in certain tales. Yet she never lost her complexity. Even in later stories, she remains unpredictable. She may threaten to eat a visitor, only to later help them. She may set impossible tasks, but also provide the means to complete them. This duality is essential to her identity. One of the most famous stories featuring Baba Yaga is the tale of Vasilisa the Beautiful. In this narrative, a young girl is sent into the forest to seek fire from Baba Yaga, a task that seems certain to end in death. Yet Vasilisa survives, not through force, but through kindness, humility, and the guidance of a magical doll given to her by her mother. When Vasilisa reaches Baba Yaga's hut, she is tested. She is given chores that seem impossible. She must sort grains, clean the house, and complete tasks that require patience and intelligence. Baba Yaga watches her closely, ready to punish failure. But Vasilisa succeeds, aided by her inner strength and her ability to listen and learn. In the end, Baba Yaga does not destroy her. Instead, she gives her the fire she sought, contained within a skull that glows with an eerie light. This fire ultimately brings justice to Vasilisa's cruel stepfamily, revealing truth and restoring balance. This story illustrates a key aspect of Baba Yaga's role. She is a tester, a gatekeeper of transformation. She does not simply harm or help, she evaluates. She demands effort, resilience, and integrity. Those who meet her challenges are rewarded. Those who fail may face dire consequences. From a psychological perspective, Baba Yaga can be understood as an archetype, a universal symbol that reflects aspects of the human experience. She is often associated with the crone, representing wisdom, age, and the deeper knowledge that comes with experience. But she is also linked to the shadow, the hidden, often feared parts of the self that must be confronted in order to grow. In this sense, Baba Yaga's forest becomes a metaphor for the unconscious mind. Entering it means stepping into the unknown, facing fears, and undergoing transformation. Her hut becomes the place where change occurs, where the old self is challenged, and the new self begins to emerge. Her tests mirror the challenges we face in our own lives. They require patience, courage, and the willingness to confront difficulty. They remind us that growth is not easy, that it often involves discomfort and uncertainty. Culturally, Baba Yaga also reflects attitudes toward age and gender. As an old woman who lives alone and wields power, she defies conventional expectations. In many societies, such figures are viewed with suspicion or fear. Yet in folklore, they are given a voice, a presence, a role that cannot be ignored. Baba Yaga is not marginalized. She is central. She is not passive. She is active. She shapes the course of the stories in which she appears. She challenges protagonists, influences outcomes, and embodies forces that cannot be controlled. In modern times, Baba Yaga continues to capture the imagination. She appears in books, films, and games, often reinterpreted for new audiences. Sometimes she is portrayed as a villain, sometimes as a mentor, sometimes as something in between, yet her core essence remains intact. She is still the figure in the forest, the one who tests, the one who stands at the boundary. Why does she endure? Because she speaks to something fundamental. She represents the unknown, the challenges we face, the fears we must confront, the transformations we undergo. She reminds us that life is not always clear or predictable, that wisdom often comes through struggle, and that growth requires courage. She also reminds us of the power of storytelling. Through her, we see how cultures express their values, their fears, and their understanding of the world. We see how stories evolve, how they adapt, and how they continue to resonate across time. As we reflect on Baba Yaga, we are not just looking at a figure from the past. We are engaging with a living symbol, one that continues to challenge, to inspire, and to provoke thought. So let us not see her merely as a witch in a hut or a character in a tale. Let us see her as what she truly is, a guardian of thresholds, a keeper of ancient knowledge, a reflection of the complexities of life itself. And perhaps, as we leave this discussion, we might ask ourselves, what forests lie before us? What thresholds must we cross? And if we were to meet Baba Yaga at the edge of the unknown, would we be ready to face her tests?